Assalamu alaikum students. How are you all? I hope you all are doing well at your home. Today, once again, we're back to our English subject, class 7. We start today unit number 8, Fire, Friend and Foe. Here we will learn the fire as a friend and as an enemy. Foe means enemy. We will see here both use of fire. The how we will use fire, so it will be friend, and what we will do, so it become our enemy too. So let's start our lesson. Students, everybody open your page number 114. So students, be ready with your textbook. Open page number 114. Now look at here. Fire is both useful and dangerous. What is fire? How did we discover it? How do we control it? Now students, here we will see that what is fire. We will learn what is fire. We will learn how it's useful and how it's dangerous. How we discover it and how do we control it. Fire, friend and foe. Fire is a friend also and enemy too. Now look at your first paragraph. Early man didn't know what fire was, but he must have seen the damage it could cause. He must have watched lightning and volcanoes long before he began to use fire himself. Fire was powerful and dangerous, and he was frightened. Now, early man didn't know what fire was. Earlier, man didn't know what was fire, but he must have seen the damage it could cause. But early man knew very well that what's the damage happened because of fire, which kind of injury happened, which kind of harmness happened due to fire. How he knew these all things? He must have watched lightning and volcanoes long before he began to use fire himself. Now, as we know that, and maybe you have learning essays also in your social study subject, that early man was not living in the home. He was living in the open ground. He's wearing the leaves as a clothes. He's eating the animal. He hunts the animal, but he's eating the raw meat. So, the early man didn't know that how to cook that meat also. He hasn't seen fire, but he has seen lightning and volcanoes is a form of fire. What is volcanoes and lightning? Both are the form of fire only. So that's why this man is frightening. So he's thinking always that fire was powerful and dangerous, because when the volcanoes happen, when the lightning happen, so what happened? It's ruined many places. Volcanoes, it can ruin within a second whole city, whole place. So that's why the man is frightening. The man was feeling fear because this fire. So he's thinking that this fire is powerful and dangerous. He's thinking that it's an enemy of a man, but he don't know the fire is also a friend for them. Now look at the second paragraph. Fire may have puzzled early man, but we now know that fire is a result of a chemical reaction. When the oxygen in the air combines with the carbon and hydrogen in a fuel, a chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released in this process. This is what we call fire. Now, early man didn't know what is fire. He has just seen lightning, volcanoes, and he's feeling frightened. But today we know that what is fire. We are learning in science also that fire is a combination of oxygen, carbon, and hydrogen in a fuel. So some chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released. It's free. This type of energy is free in this process, and that's we call fire. Fire may have puzzled early man. Early man was maybe confused that it's what is fire. Maybe he didn't know what is fire. But today we know very well that it's a result of a chemical reaction when the oxygen, air combines with the carbon and hydrogen in a fuel. Fuel, what is fuel? Fuel is a burning material. Whatever burning material we are taking, it's known as fuel. A chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released. We know that when we start burning anything, light will release and heat. We are feeling hot. So it's released in this process, and this is what we call fire. So this result of chemical reaction, it's known as fire. So this is one process. When we use these all things, that time this process happen, and in this process heat and light become free. So this is known as fire. Now look at the third paragraph, students, at the same page. 3 things are needed to make fire. Now here 3 things mentioned, that which 3 things needed to make fire? Fuel, oxygen, and heat. Wood, coal, cooking gas, and petrol are some examples of fuel. Oxygen comes from the air. That is why when you blow on smoldering paper, it often bursts into flame. The third thing needed to make fire is heat. Fuel and oxygen do not make fire by themselves, or else a newspaper or stick lying in the open would catch fire on its own. So here we will see that which 3 things are needed to make fire. Number 1, fuel. Fuel, once again students, I like to say that fuel means burning material. Then another, oxygen, and the third one is heat. Now wood, coal, cooking gas, and petrol, paper, newspaper, these all are examples of fuel. These all are examples of burning material. To burn anything, we need this type of material first. Oxygen comes from the air. Yes, air. From the air, we can get oxygen. So oxygen will get from the air. We cannot see it, but it's a one chemical, oxygen, that we can get from the air. That is why when you blow on smoldering paper, it often bursts into flame. Yes, suppose that you are smoldering paper, burning slowly. What is smoldering? Burning slowly without flame, which is given already in your textbook. Smoldering paper, burning slowly without flame. it often bursts into flame. It turned into flame. The third thing needed to make fire is heat. So definitely when it start burning, so heat will release and the light will release. Fuel and oxygen do not make fire by themselves, or else a newspaper or a stick lying in the open would catch fire on its own. So here it's written that fuel and oxygen do not start firing themselves. If fuel is there, oxygen is there, you have seen that many wood, coal, some bottle of cooking gas you are watching here and there. But it's not started burning themselves. Air is also everywhere. Oxygen is everywhere. But it's not started burning themselves. Newspaper or stick lying in the open would catch fire on its own. Or else a newspaper or stick lying in the open would catch fire on its own. They cannot start burning them their own self. They want what they want. For burning, they want heat. To burn a piece of paper or wood, we heat it before it catches fire. Yes, so these three things are very needed to burn the fire, to release the fire, to create a fire. So students, you have to remember these three things. What are those three things? Fuel, oxygen and heat. These three things are very important to create, to produce fire. We generally do it with a lighted match. Every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. This temperature is called the flash point or kindling temperature of the fuel. We heat it before it catches fire. So, to burn newspaper, stick, wood, petrol, any fuel there, we need not only oxygen but we need heat too. And heat in form of any, maybe it's a lighted match, or maybe you can get the heat from the hot sunlight too. Students, sometimes we are learning, we are getting these all things also, that due to the hot day, some trees started to burning themselves. Some trees are burning in an open area because they are not getting any type of shadow. And especially these things happen in the summer season, that the whole forest started to burning. And when it started burning, so what happened? The animals also burn in that fire. We are using lighted match to produce fire. But sometimes this happens natural due to very hot sun, due to very hot day. The ray of the sun directly they are getting, the trees are directly getting, so because of the strong heat, they also started burning automatically. It's a natural, this fire happened. So every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. And every fuel, if wood is there, so some slow temperature, paper or any other fuel, so according to their temperature, they started burning. This temperature is called the flash point. Flash point means burning point or kindling temperature of the fuel. What is kindling temperature? The lowest temperature at which a substance will spontaneously combust in a normal atmosphere without an external source of ignition. Autoignition temperature, burning point. It's known as kindling temperature too. So, according to the fuel temperature, this temperature, according to the fuel, the temperature will be change. So this temperature is known as flash point, burning point, or you can say kindling temperature of the fuel. So students, I hope you understand how the fire started produced. Early man didn't know what is fire. Early man didn't know that fire is a friend also. Early man only knew that fire is an enemy because it burst many areas, long areas, and definitely it become enemy, so it's a very dangerous. So early man knew this only, that fire is a dangerous and very powerful. So powerful means the human cannot able to do when it's become out of control. So that's why it's a very powerful tool. After we started to know that fire is only a chemical reaction, it's a combination of some chemical like hydrogen, carbon and oxygen. When it's combined with the fuel and it's create heat, light, and the fire will be produced. So students, remember this process. What is fire? How we can produce fire? Which three things are needed to produce fire? So remember these two answers. Now let's move to next. It is sometimes said that fire is a good servant but a bad master. Yes, if you know how to use it, it's very good master, very good servant, when it's in your control. But when you don't know how to use it, it's become your bad master. It treats with you very badly. That's why it's written, it's your bad master too. It only means that fire is very useful as long as it is kept under control. If you know how to use fire, if you know how to control fire, so it's your good servant. You know that what the servant will do, what the master will say. So here, you as a master, you must know how to use it, fire. Fire is a servant if you know as a master how to use it. So that time, fire become a good servant. But if you don't know how to use it, so fire become your master. And you cannot able to do anything as a servant. That's why here this written, fire is a good servant, but a bad master. So when it's out of control, when it's out of control, that time it's a bad master. But if it's in your control, that time it's a good servant. Now look at the next paragraph at page number 150. So students, open your 115 page and look at there. For instance, we use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter, and to generate electricity. But on the other hand, if fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. Vast areas of forest are also destroyed, and hundreds of people are killed or injured. Now here are some examples given how it's a good servant and how it's a bad master. We use it to cook our food, yes. We love to eat delicious food, yes students? So this delicious food is created because of fire. We use fire to cook it. In our home, rice and everything is there, but we don't know the use of fire. How can we cook it? So here, we use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter, and to generate electricity. Yes, another use of fire is to produce electricity also. So electricity is also one form of fire. We can use it if we know very well it's in our control, so it's a good servant. But on the other hand, if fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. How it's dangerous? Look at here, some examples given. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire due to maybe electric fire or maybe some other, like you can say that some gas released. So that time also cooking gas may be released at home. So what happened? All the homes are together. So one by one, all the home catches fire. And that's why the government also making some rules for it, that to keep distance between two homes, especially in a you can say that the area which are very much you can say that in which area the peoples are too much, in that area, especially like in which people are usually every day coming to buy anything, etc. In a market area, like this area, the government also making some rules that the homes should be in a distance place between two homes. There must be some gaps, there must be some distance. Because if this type of incidents happen, so other home cannot catch fire. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. Vast areas of forest are also destroyed and hundreds of people are killed or injured. Before 1 or 2 years only, we know that this type of incidents happen in Australia. Many animals killed due to fire. So people, animals, they are getting injury, they are killed due to this fire. So when it's out of control, so that time it's really bad, master. Just as 3 things are needed to start a fire, there are 3 main ways in which a fire can be put out. Now earlier in this all, what we have learned in these 2 pages, that how to produce fire. We had learned 3 things used to produce fire, that are oxygen, fuel and heat. Fuel, oxygen and heat are needed to produce fire. Now we will learn how to control it, how to put out these so we can stop the fire. We will learn these 3 things, how to stop the fire, how to put out the fire in our next video. So students, try to understand these 3 answers, that what is fire, what are 3 things to produce fire, how the fire is a good servant and a bad master. Now in our next video, we'll learn which are the 3 things we can use to control, to put out the fire. Till that, take care and have a wonderful day.